Okay. So coming back to the body, finding ourselves a suitable posture. Again, settling into this moment. As you become more familiar with this initial phase of settling into the body in the beginning, you can recognize this kind of melting quality, sinking into your posture. Surrendering the bones, the muscles to gravity and settling down, grounding your attention. Taking a few breaths to center yourself. And as you do so, allow yourself to leave all complications, any expectations or conceptualizations, thoughts about this or that, to leave all this aside for the time being. Cultivating a spirit of joy, an attitude of openness towards others, but especially also towards yourself, Generating the motivation that we are here for the purpose of ultimately developing the mind, of making use of these precious conditions that have come together here for us, to make an actual change in the mind, to change our habits from ego-grasping distraction to a sense of open, altruistic investigation, creating positive seeds in the mind. To step by step, following these instructions, guiding our mind to a higher state, a more positive state, developing our incredible potential to become a Buddha, step by step, slowly, knowing that every thought counts, every thought is a seed that will give rise to a fruit if we nourish it correctly. So, for a moment cultivate the wish. I'm meditating now in order to develop myself for the benefit of each and every living being, since this is my potential, and I want to cultivate that fully, to the best of my ability. That's why I'm going to sit down to work on my mind. Just giving rise to this thought. So take your time, settling back in and for a moment reconnecting with your breathing before we begin. can begin this contemplation, letting go of the breath, starting by simply bringing to mind, working with the thought that this life, your present human life, which is so precious, so difficult to find, with all its richnesses, it has a limited time. This life, my life, is limited. It's going to end. Bring this fact to mind vividly. This present existence is not permanent. It will not last forever, but it will end. Just try to taste this. Regardless of how much I grasp at it, how much I want it to last, this life has a limited time. Regardless of being with my friends or family, this life is going to end. No question. For a moment, feel that this is true. We have this notion deep within us that thinks life is endless. We think that when we wake up in the morning and see the sunrise, that we will always see the sunrise. When we go through our day, when we see that the moon sets, at night we think we will always see the moon set. We think it will always be that way. We think it's all so endless. But there will come a day when you will see your last sunrise, your last moon set. So death is very real. It's going to happen. Something we have to accept and work with. Letting this recognition sink in. You can bring to mind people that you know from your own life who have already died. One day they were here, and the next day they were gone, like that. And think about the people that you know that are still alive, and contemplate that everyone, one day, every one of these people will die. And so will you. There are 7 billion people in this world right now. But in about 100 years from now, all of these people will be dead. I know it seems kind of morbid, but if you think about it, it does not take much to see that this is the truth. From the time of our birth, we get closer and closer to death, with every day, every hour, every minute. With every breath we take, we are one breath closer to death. So this is not supposed to freak us out, but only so we can see what actually happens. Take a close look. Attend closely. And then, regarding the time of your death, you can check for yourself. What do you know? What do we really know? There is this voice inside us that tells us, I'm going to live for a long time. But how do you know? How long? 10 years? 10 months? 10 days? 10 hours? I mean, truly, leaving all fantasies, all hopes and dreams aside, what do you know about the time of your death? life can end at any time. Any time. Regardless of what your plans for the future might be. Death does not wait for our plans and dreams to be finished. It's true. Again, this is a reminder. You can meditate for a moment that death is coming. It's on its way. It's like a friend that already left home to meet us. We call that friend and the friend says, "Yeah, I already left, I'll be there soon." This present life that we grasp as permanent is a very questionable phenomena. How long are we going to be healthy enough to practice meditation, to work on ourselves, to explore our human existence? We don't know. It's really very limited. So we really should meditate that this fact really reminds us that we should not get too comfortable in samsara, more and more comfortable, chasing after more and more temporary pleasures, creating more and more negative karma, but to actually realize the real nature of our being and see if we can come to something more fundamental in our life, more worthwhile. Because what will be actually beneficial? What will actually help us at the time of death, when we really have to leave this life forever? Our possessions, we have to leave behind. All the money we've earned, the houses we bought, the stuff that we accumulated, we have to leave it all behind. We cannot take anything with us. Not a cent. And also our friends and family, as much as we would wish them to, they cannot do much. No one can share the experience of death with us. That will be experienced by ourselves alone. We will have to leave this body that we cherished the most, that is so precious for us and we identify with so strongly, we will have to leave it also behind, by ourselves. The only thing that we take with us, the only thing that is really worthwhile at the time of death is our own state of mind. How we experience the end of this life and what will happen in the future totally depends on our mind. Only when we have made our lives meaningful by understanding what is truly important, having created virtue, developed our minds and opened our hearts, having trained them in loving kindness and compassion, generosity and wisdom, only then will our minds be peaceful, have no regrets. Only then we created the causes for a good rebirth. So as a conclusion, look into your life of freedom. For a few more moments, sit and ask yourself, what is truly worthwhile? What is most important to do? How can I best use my life for myself and others? Take a minute or two to contemplate, to conclude. With a sense of joy that you still have this life, you bring your awareness to the present and dedicate. May we be able to gain the realization of impermanence. gain the realization into reality that this life that we have will pass, but my consciousness will continue into the future. And it depends on my actions of how that will be. May we gain that realization and be able to take the essence of this life, not getting distracted by meaningless affairs, but actually creating virtue in the sense that is truly worthwhile for ourselves and others. May this meditation propel me to be able to do that and develop my inner potential fully for the benefit of each and every living being.